My name is Julian, and I'm 32 years old, living in Miami. It's a city of sunshine and neon, but sometimes, for me, it felt more like a cage of endless heat and relentless bills. My days started before the sun even thought about peeking over the Atlantic. The alarm on my phone would scream at 4:30 every morning. I worked at the docks, loading and unloading cargo ships. It was backbreaking labor, sweat stinging my eyes, the smell of salt and diesel fuel clinging to my clothes like a second skin. My shoulders ached constantly, a dull throb that never truly went away. But I pushed through it every single day because of Lily. My daughter, my beautiful, bright-eyed Lily, was everything. She was 5, a whirlwind of energy and imagination with a laugh that could chase away any shadow. We lived in a small, worn-out apartment in a neighborhood that wasn't dangerous but wasn't exactly safe either. The paint was peeling, the air conditioner struggled in the suffocating humidity, and the landlord was always slow to fix anything. My biggest dream was simple: to get Lily out of that apartment, to find a place where she had her own room, a small yard where she could play without me worrying about her. I wanted her to have a childhood filled with joy, not the constant hum of my anxieties. Lately, though, the anxieties had grown into a roaring symphony. My shifts at the docks were cut back. Fuel prices shot up, making my old, sputtering car even more expensive to run. And then Lily got sick. A nasty ear infection that meant doctor's visits and prescription copays that felt like a punch to the gut. Each dollar I earned felt like a precious drop of water in a vast desert, and it was draining away faster than I could collect it. The biggest struggle was keeping food on the table, keeping the lights on, and making sure Lily had everything she needed. She was growing so fast, outgrowing clothes almost overnight, needing new shoes, more formula for her evening snack, more diapers for nighttime. I tried everything. I picked up extra shifts at a local diner, washing dishes until my hands were raw and my feet screamed. I sold a few things I owned that held sentimental value but weren't absolutely essential, things like my old guitar that I hadn't played in years. But it still felt like I was treading water, barely keeping my head above the surface. My internal nemesis was a constant whisper in my ear, a dark voice that said, "You're failing, Julian. You're not good enough to be a father. You're letting Lily down." That fear, that crushing weight of not being able to provide for the one person who mattered most, gnawed at me day and night. It was the deepest, most profound fear I had ever known. I started getting desperate. I'd scour online job boards after putting Lily to bed, my eyes burning from exhaustion. Most nights I'd fall asleep right there, slumped over my phone, only to wake up an hour later and force myself back to the task. I applied for every factory job, every warehouse position, anything that paid a little more or offered more consistent hours than the docks. I even considered selling plasma, but I knew I needed my strength for my physical jobs. There were so many setbacks. One week, the ancient refrigerator in our apartment finally gave up, leaking water all over the floor and ruining the little bit of food I had managed to buy. Replacing it was out of the question, so I had to rely on coolers and ice, which was an added expense and a constant worry about food spoilage. Then, just when I thought I was getting ahead, my car, my only way to get to work, decided to die on the side of the road. The mechanic quoted me a price that might as well have been $1 million. I had to borrow a bicycle from a friend, and I started riding miles in the scorching Miami heat, sometimes barely making it to my shifts on time, arriving drenched in sweat and utterly exhausted. Each of these events chipped away at my resolve, making that dark whisper of doubt louder and louder. The lowest point arrived on a Tuesday evening. I had just finished a double shift, first at the docks, then at the diner, my body protesting with every movement. Lily had been asking for a new picture book, something about a brave little dragon, and her current shoes had holes in the soles. I knew I couldn't afford those extras, but I absolutely had to get more formula and diapers. We were completely out. I clutched the last $20 I had in my pocket, feeling the worn edges of the bill. I had tried to calculate it perfectly, checking the prices online before I even left, but I knew how tricky grocery store prices could be. I walked to the nearest supermarket, my old bike rattling beside me. Inside, the bright fluorescent lights seemed to mock my fatigue. I grabbed a large container of Lily's special formula, the kind she needed because of her sensitive stomach, and the biggest pack of diapers I could find. My basket felt heavy, not just with the items, but with the weight of my hopes and fears. I picked up a small bag of her favorite apples, a tiny luxury I hoped I could still manage. My heart was pounding as I got in line, watching the cashier scan items for the customer in front of me. When it was my turn, I placed the formula, the diapers, and the apples on the conveyor belt. The beep of the scanner sounded like a countdown to disaster. "That'll be $23.45, she said, her voice flat. My blood ran cold. $23.45. I had exactly $20. My breath hitched in my throat. I stared at the screen, then at the $20 bill in my hand. I must have miscalculated, or the prices had gone up. Panic flared in my chest, hot and suffocating. I felt my face flush with shame. My mind raced, trying to figure out what I could put back. The formula was non-negotiable. The diapers, absolutely essential. The apples, a luxury. But even without the apples, I'd still be short. I imagined Lily waking up in the middle of the night, hungry, and me having nothing to give her. The thought was a physical pain. I'm sorry, I stammered, my voice barely a whisper. I only have $20, I'll have to put something back. I started to reach for the formula, then hesitated, my hand trembling. How could I choose? How could I possibly choose between her food and her comfort? This was it. This was rock bottom. The dark whisper of doubt in my head wasn't a whisper anymore. It was a roar. You are a failure, Julian. Just as I was about to ask the cashier to take back the diapers, a hand gently touched my arm. I flinched, surprised. I turned to see a man standing behind me in line. He was older, perhaps in his late 50s, with kind eyes and a gentle smile that reached them. He had a shopping basket of his own, mostly fresh produce. "Worry about it, son," he said, his voice soft and warm. "I've got it." Before I could even process what he was saying, he reached over, pulled out his wallet, and handed the cashier a $50 bill. "Add his total to mine," he told her. I was stunned. My mouth hung open. No, you don't have to," I mumbled, my voice thick with emotion. The shame was still there, but now it was mixed with an overwhelming wave of confusion and something else, something I hadn't felt in a very long time, hope. The man just smiled again. "Consider it a good deed for the day. We all need a little help sometimes." He looked at my basket, then at me. "Those look like some important things for a little one." The cashier processed the payment. She handed the man his change and a receipt. He nodded to me, a silent message of encouragement, and then he was gone just like that. I stood there, rooted to the spot, the receipt for my items still in the cashier's hand. I felt a lump form in my throat, hot tears pricking at my eyes. The weight of the world, which had been pressing down on me for so long, suddenly felt a little lighter. It was more than just $23.45. It was a lifeline, a message that I wasn't alone, that kindness still existed even in the darkest corners. I walked home in a daze, clutching the bag of formula and diapers. Lily was already asleep when I got back, her small chest rising and falling softly. I placed the formula and diapers carefully on the counter. That night, I didn't fall asleep slumped over my phone. I stayed awake, thinking about the stranger, about his quiet generosity. It felt like a small spark had been lit inside me, pushing back against the encroaching darkness. If a stranger could show such profound kindness to someone like me, someone he didn't even know, then maybe, just maybe, I could find the strength to keep fighting. The next morning, I woke up with a renewed sense of purpose. That spark of hope ignited a fire. I decided right then and there that I was going to make a change. I remembered an old flyer I'd seen for a community college offering night classes in basic computer skills and administration. I'd always dismissed it, thinking I was too old, too tired, too busy, too poor. But now, with the memory of that man's kindness fresh in my mind, I thought, what do I have to lose? I applied. It wasn't easy. Juggling classes after long shifts, trying to study while Lily was sleeping, meant even less sleep for me. But I pushed through, driven by Lily's bright eyes and the memory of that stranger's gentle smile. I learned new skills, and after a grueling 6 months, I finally landed a job as an administrative assistant at a small shipping logistics company. It wasn't perfect, but it was office work, consistent hours, and it paid significantly more than the docks. The best part? It had benefits. Health insurance for Lily. A steady paycheck that meant I could finally afford a slightly better apartment, one with a working refrigerator and no peeling paint, and a small balcony where Lily could grow her own little herb garden. Her shoes always had good soles now, and her bookshelf was full of brave little dragon stories. My new normal wasn't about being rich, but it was about stability, about being able to provide for Lily without the constant fear clutching my throat. That act of unexpected kindness had done more than just pay for groceries. It had paid for my belief in myself, and I promised myself I would pay that kindness forward. Every month, I make a small donation to a local charity that helps single parents with essentials. I also keep an eye out when I'm at the grocery store. Just last week, I saw a young mother struggling to calm a crying baby while trying to find her wallet. Her hands were full and she looked so overwhelmed, just like I had been. I didn't hesitate. I quietly stepped forward, paid for her small cart of diapers and formula, and left before she could even thank me properly. I didn't want to thank you. I just wanted to pass on the feeling of relief, the feeling of not being alone. Sometimes, when I'm walking through the park with Lily watching her chase butterflies, I still think about that man. I often wonder if he ever thinks about the young father he helped that day. I never saw him again. But then one sunny Saturday afternoon, while volunteering at a community food bank helping to sort donations, I spotted him. He was there too, quietly stacking cans of soup, his kind eyes focused on his task. He looked a little older, perhaps, but it was definitely him. Our eyes met across the bustling room. He offered me a small, knowing smile, the same gentle smile he had given me in the grocery store. He didn't say anything, and neither did I. We just shared a moment of silent understanding, two people connected by a simple, profound act of generosity. It was a twist of fate, a quiet confirmation that the ripple of kindness truly does come back around, making the world a brighter, more hopeful place for us all. Things truly do get better, especially when we remember to be kind to each other.